What's good, everybody? What's good? So, I was watching the clip. Shout out to Steve Nash. I said Nash. Um, Kevin Nash. Um, he was one of the few wrestlers that stayed away from other drugs and stuff. Um, the last time he was relevant was in the '90s, obviously, but he was kind of low key, unlike other wrestlers that took drugs and painkillers and that was on the rod or whatever. He was one of those few people that stayed away from it, and Mankind, and Chris Jericho, and Kurt Angle, even though Kurt Angle was on that one match in TNA, but Rob Van Dam is another one, Jeff Hardy is another one. But the reason why wrestlers die so young, you have Eddie Guerrero, Umaga, you have, obviously Owen Hart, but he died tragically due to a malfunction in the net with the ropes, and he fell to his death. A lot of people would say, well, they should have stopped the show. First of all, they couldn't, because all the matches was already booked, for that show. And then plus on top of that, they would have had to, refund everybody's money. I mean, the arena was already jam-packed, and when everybody heard the news, because everybody was like, getting ready for their matches and stuff, and I believe he was the first one on the card. I believe he was the first match. He was the first match on the card. And then now, there's like conspiracy theories out there saying who was fault by, or who was in charge of the equipment, So all this, all this, mix up, it's just one of those things that it's unfortunate, Now, my theory is, for A, he could have fell and survived, but he would have been paralyzed from the waist down. So that means that he would have had to be confined to a wheelchair for the rest of his life. But he's still breathing. 2, somebody replaced the cable cords with lube. Because when you grease up the ropes, and then there's like a little, you unhook the buckle, and then it shoots you straight to the ring. Because Shawn Michaels used to do that all the time. I remember, my grandfather used to watch wrestling. He was big on wrestling, especially like in around the golden era, where, you shoot through the ring, there's like a little harness nest that, beams you straight to the ring. Well, that's what he was going to do, but when he detached it, everything, like the rope, fell off, so he couldn't really break his fall, and he plummeted right down to the ground. But, like, if you know what I'm talking about, Shawn Michaels used to do the same thing. So, but I mean, Andre died of, natural causes, because he refused to get surgery. I'm saying, you know, if he had went through the surgery or had he gone with the surgery, we don't know if he would have still been alive to this day. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that he didn't take the surgery, his body got bigger and it rejected him, and obviously he died in his hometown of France. Um, so and Vince McMahon said that he has no restrictions on these players on these wrestlers when they go home. While they are under his control, they have to apply by what he does and what he says. He went hard on steroids. You know what I'm saying? He had a program for that, for wrestlers to get clean and stuff like that. He hammered hard. He hammered hard on that because there was a lot of wrestlers that sued him because they had like a undercover doctor that was giving prescriptions out under his nose, under his supervision. But yeah, he said that as long as these wrestlers are under my control, I have to, be on top of everything, But as soon as these wrestlers go home, they are no longer under my control. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever they do in their spare time, it's whatever they do in their spare time. I have no control over them. And I agree. As long as these wrestlers are in the company, by the time they go home, he has no control over them. He can't tell them what to do, no nothing. But as long as they are under his supervision, they have to apply by what he says. So that goes for Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, this Nash was one of those wrestlers that, he was very, wise. You know what I'm saying? Wrestlers like The Undertaker, Kane, Big Show, like you could see why they lasted the way they lasted. You know what I'm saying? Because they stayed away from stuff like that. And I mean, especially Mankind, Mick Foley. All those bashes that he's been doing, and then now you see the side effects of it. You know what I'm saying? The dude can barely even walk. So yeah, he could have popped 100 painkillers, but he absorbed so many hits. It was like, you're like, damn, how can you withstand all these pain? Without popping at least one. So go back and look at his matches. His matches are vicious. Matches are vicious. But yeah, I mean, we losing wrestlers left and right. You know what I'm saying? Like, we lost Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt was actually my favorite. His storytelling, it was something out of a horror movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just had the imagination of it, And I know his brother's trying to follow in his footsteps, but Bray Wyatt. I'm sorry. Bray Wyatt. um, Ultimate Warrior. You know what I'm saying? Like we just lost so many, and you know, like I said, it's not the man's fault. You know, he did the best that he could under while they were under his supervision, but the moment they the moment that they leave that facility, all bets are off. You know what I'm saying? Like all bets are off. So, um, like the wrestlers knew what they were getting into. You know, like the wrestlers knew what they were getting into, but they signed up for it anyway. You know, knowing the ramifications, knowing the effects that it would have on their bodies. You know, taking vicious chair shots and just because that was the only way they knew how to provide for their family. You know what I'm saying? So wrestling was a milk ticket, and you know most of them, not all of them, but majority of them took the bait. So you know, and wrestling is the most violent sport. A lot of people y'all can say, oh, it's fake and stage and all that, but you can't fake gravity. You know what I'm saying? Like when Mankind got tossed on top of the Hell in a Cell, I thought he was dead. Like there was moments where he was not even moving, and that was like a real table back in the day. You know what I'm saying? That was no cardboard box like you saw how Shane McMahon did the exact same thing. Like he set Undertaker up, he climbed up, and then he jumped down. Obviously, he did that with one of those prayers. You know what I'm saying? And then he jumped down. What people don't know is there was actually a big cushion underneath the table to absorb the blow. Back in that day, back in the Attitude Era, that table there was like literally nothing holding it. So when he crashed through that table, I thought he was dead. Until he started moving, it's like, oh my god, this guy's. Then he went back up just to get chokeslammed through like, dude. But obviously he did lose that match. But man, he put everything on the line, you know. But yeah, most of them, die of natural causes. Most of them die because of drugs. Rick Rude, you know, that dude was shredded. Like that dude was on that juice hard, you know. Um, Ultimate Warrior, you know, um, that was another one, you know. Ricky, not Ricky, Macho Man. I think Macho Man died of natural causes too. But Yokozuna, he died of, he didn't die of natural causes. I think he did. But what led to that? So, was it the painkillers? Was it the drugs he was taking? He was just overweight. Most people might say, he just kept on eating. WWE tried their best to, get him into these programs to, you know, at least lose the weight, whatever. He refused, and then when they weighed him again, they found out he was over 400 pounds. No, or I think over 300 pounds. He was like 415. Like the dude couldn't even wrestle no more, so, Vince McMahon fired him, you know. No, actually, they, yeah, I think at first they did the no relief form, which means that he'll wrestle, but he won't get paid until he could get his weight under control. So Vince McMahon was trying to help, but again, the wrestlers, they have their own, you know, say, I know what's good for my body, this and that, you know. Umaga was found dead in his home by his wife, So, and Vince McMahon started to get a lot of lawsuits, you know, like why didn't you protect the wrestlers, this and that and the third, and you know, like again, he even said it out of his mouth. While these wrestlers are under my control, I will do everything and anything possible to maintain the safeties of these wrestlers. But as soon as these wrestlers go home, they're not my problem. They have their own lives. They do what they want. I can only control what I can control at the end of the day. So yeah, so RIP to all of them. It's unfortunate that most of them are actually not most, all of them are not here. I'm pretty sure Andre would have, been, I think Andre would have probably been involved in some way, shape, or form. I think Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, they all would have been hands-on or probably opening up a wrestling gym, you know what I'm saying? Doing something, because I know they all love the business. But, tragedy struck and, because of that, most of them, lost their lives. So, so like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, take care of each other. And I'll put the link in the description box down below.